When autistics speak, can we believe them? Experts say only early intervention can help autistic children. In the future, accommodations for autistic adults will be totally unacceptable. Bullying will be the norm. Think differently about autism? Having something to say is not the same as not, because not being able to speak is seen as incompetence. To dismiss alternative communication for the professional is commonplace. Acceptance, pretended to be normal, is more important than being oneself. Clever people tell us that genetic tests will prevent autism. In this future, no one believes autistics are fully human.
Autistics are fully human. In this future, no one believes genetic tests will prevent autism. Clever people tell us that being oneself is more important than pretending to be normal. Acceptance is commonplace. For the professional to dismiss alternative communication is seen as incompetence, because not being able to speak is not the same as not having something to say. Think differently about autism will be the norm. Bullying will be totally unacceptable. Accommodations for autistic adults in the future can help autistic children. Experts say only early intervention. Can we trust them?
A lot of the opinions shared about autism today reflect a lack of understanding of who autistic people are. It's unfortunate that the label autistic is so often used to symbolize so many bad things to so many people. The lack of positive expectation that people have about an autistic person can really stifle that person's growth, lower their self-esteem, and ultimately be the catalyst that creates a lot of the situations that friends and family are really fearing the most. Negative attitudes are causing more ugly stereotypes and even worse treatments.
The place I attended was like an open prison. They would just seem to want to steal freedom from people in order to mould them into regular working members of society. But what they forgot is that autistic people aren't normal.
We are not born to suffer. We are born to thrive. When you live in a dry area and your garden receives little water, you plant plants which like dry soil. But when you are given a plant that likes wet soil, you don't kill it. You water it, spending one of your 1,440 minutes each day tending to that plant. Because you know that given the right care, that a little bit of effort can produce spectacular blooms. And so it should be with children like us.
Think differently. Asperger's is part of what I am. I am proud of what I am. I am proud of what I like, but I have to fight. I am determined and I have focus. I can achieve. I have feelings. And there is a light. So fight.
So, you should accept your autism. You can't change who you are, so why not make the most of it?
Autism is a design feature. It's how we're put together, and I believe in the world, especially in today's world, this is an asset because they need people like us who are autistic Lots of people can be good at the grey areas, but we're better at being black and white, and I think we need us to keep you honest, actually.
Our brains think and perceive differently, leading to unusual difficulties and unusual abilities. Don't assume anything about our abilities. Doing one thing does not mean being able to do a seemingly related thing. It does not mean being able to do it at another time or context either. Having or not having a trait in common with someone else does not mean that everything else about us is either very similar or totally different. The abilities you notice might be different from the ones we notice. Most people see autism as social skills problems, but really our perceptions are just as unusual when we are not socializing. Try not to make autistic people ashamed of this part of who we are. Never belittle the traits that set us apart from other people. Don't measure our progress by how much we can act like a non-autistic person. Don't blame autism for all our failures, while overlooking its role in our successes. Never use autism or autistic traits as insults. Don't put form before function. Look into the disability rights and self-advocacy movements, and how we challenge the usual views of what disability means, where it comes from, and what to do about it. Become our allies, and help us create a world where people will not be shut out and dehumanized, just because we operate differently. Inequality of ability should never interfere with equality of value.
These are the hands that do it. Stimming raised to an art form. Autism before they took the R out of it. The way it ought to be. The way it is for me, anyway. And I'm only claiming it's me. It doesn't have to be anybody else. It's just the way I am and the way I enjoy things, really. You're not supposed to enjoy it, maybe. It's culturally a no-no. And people will draw all sorts of conclusions, but, you know, if I raise it to a performance art form, well, why not?
Where 3 determined vultures as the county where a gun